You, the Messiah. No offense, Perdre, but that has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Why not me?
Have you met yourself? Perdre, you drink, you fight, you like to break people's arms just to hear the sounds they make.
Howdy, pilgrims. This is the... wrong show. This is Preacher vs. Preacher. It's a comparison companion podcast where each week we get together, we recap the episode of the week of Preacher, AMC series that's directly based on the comic book from the 90s. Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon made that. We compare the two. It's me and my buddy Dom.
What's up, guys?
I'm Bill.
Welcome back. If this is your first time here, welcome.
Thanks for hanging out.
Hope you enjoy the show.
Yeehaw. You know what I'm saying?
That's
How are
right.
you? How are you digging it?
I'm kind of in the middle on this week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't hate it.
Right.
I liked it,
Sure.
but
Me too.
I
feel
didn't
the same.
didn't love it.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was gonna be the episode 9 that I expected it to be.
The kids call them penultimate.
Right. That's what they call them nowadays.
Penultimate.
Right.
The one before the last one.
Right. You started saying that when that guy Ed started coming around.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, sure. That's
Exactly.
why. Well, I felt I could finally say it in public. It's like one
Okay,
of those
fair
big,
enough.
it's like one of those big
Yeah.
words I can't
I know
say.
somebody. I could say that word, right? Fuck up.
Yeah, not to get off topic, but you've never had that happen where it's like, oh, I can't use that word here. That's like, I'll get ripped on. Like, you know what I mean? Certain groups of friends, it's like, what are you all of a sudden? You like a scientist?
Yeah, no,
It's like,
absolutely.
no, I just use something more than 4 syllables.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, totally. That happens to me a lot.
Oh, nice. Nice. I feel like that means you read books besides comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's it. So, yeah. So in the opening, you might notice I fumbled it. I almost called this show the other show, the Wicked Theory podcast. Well, that's where people might know us from. People, go check that out. Why not? If you want more of us.
Yeah, every Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on Mixler.com.
Yep, we do it live.
Yeah.
We do it live.
It's
baby.
MIXLR.com.
And they got a free app. You can download that. You know what I mean? We've done episodes of this live on there.
We have. We've
We have.
experimented with that, but sometimes it's not exactly worth it to do the live show.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit easier, and you're more comfortable.
Yeah, a little bit of
and,
that.
There's not much pressure, this and that.
It's, scheduling kind of thing.
That too.
So, but speaking of schedule, I think, not to get ahead of ourselves, but next week's the finale.
It is.
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to have Sarah Netzley on, if I can make that happen.
Heyo.
I don't want to I haven't spoken to her yet, but through the grapevine, what I understand is that she likes this show. And she's probably listening right now. Well,
Right.
it'll feel real right now to her when she hears me say that.
Yes. So, Sarah,
Yeah.
the invitation is yours.
The invitation's open. This is just how I do it.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. I don't text. I'm just like, yeah, come over.
Just pop up anytime, man.
Yeah,
It's all right,
yeah.
don't worry
Just
about
ring my bell. Just ring the bell.
just ring the
I'm
fucking
here.
bell.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll reach out. We'll see if we can make that happen. But Sarah Netzley is a co-host over on DC TV Report.
Yeah,
That's
that's
our sister show.
correct.
And it's her and our buddy Ed over there, and they recap all the DC TV shows,
Even this one.
even the one we do. And what's interesting over there is that they do it from a different kind of perspective. They don't go as book heavy, even though she's read it, he hasn't.
Correct.
And it's a little bit more mainstreamy than this. This kind of excludes people a little bit. It's like, we're going to give stuff away. It's kind of like the thing. It's one of the things we do.
Right.
So speaking of all that good stuff, people, you can follow Dom on Dom_Tory, Torre. I'm at Wicked Theory. The show is at Preach vs. Preach. Those are the Twitter handles you need to know if you're a Twitter type person. You can send us emails they're going to go to pvp@wickedtheory.com.
Send us an email, ask us some questions, fact check us,
send
tell
us-
us we're right, tell us we're wrong.
Absolutely. I want to
Whatever
hear
else.
more of that.
Yeah, that would be cool. A
You
little
know,
feedback.
want to hear more
A little
of...
a little more feedback, because we get some feedback.
Well, we do have a little bit of feedback actually this week.
So that's good.
You know what I
and we'll
mean?
get to that.
Should we tee it up? What do you think? Now? Before? After?
Sure.
Sure. I gave you options, and you went right in the
Now.
middle. I love it when people do that.
Now.
You want to go now or later? Yeah. Yeah.
Usually it's for the former, though, when you say yeah.
That is is that, for the last thing you said?
I think so.
No.
For the former, like the first thing you said.
Former is first, right?
Yeah.
That's how to remember that,
Correct.
kids. Former
and the latter.
And the latter is last.
Yes.
That's how you do it. Okay. Well, you know what? We'll go into it real quick right before we finish up this part. Before we get into it, this is the last warning you get. We do spoiler stuff. We ring the bell. We compare the book to the show to the book, that whole razzle-dazzle. And that's it. You know, so...
Warning.
Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers ahead.
You've been warned.
Doesn't get more official than that. But this one's a dick joke, the title of this one.
It is.
It turns out Schwanzkopf? Kompf?
I won't hold you to the
My pronunciation?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I
Thank
wouldn't
you.
hold myself to it. So it's
Yeah,
all good,
last
though.
week, I guess I had typed it wrong, or grammar check had caught me somehow or something, or spell check rather. So I was getting all kinds of, I got Schwarzkopf. Somehow in my tagging, I got Schwarzkopf. But with Schwanzkopf, which is a little different, but it means, basically means dickhead or cockhead.
Right.
In the old German, as they say, ye
And-
olde German.
I think we know why that is, Bill.
Well, because this show is obsessed with penises
Yeah, I mean,
and bodily fluid jokes.
yeah.
A lot of that.
I guess I kind of wish it was a little more obsessed with dicks.
Yeah,
It would just be funnier. I don't know.
right. So that's actually the gist of the first email we got. It's from our buddy Kevin,
Okay,
actually the visual effects supervisor over on the show.
that's correct.
You know, our one in. It's the only one we've needed.
Take what you can get.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we love him. He's like, hey, Bill and Dom, still listening to you guys, and I'm holding back on telling you whether you're right or wrong regarding some of the theories you've been postulating of lately.
That means we're right.
We're right on something. That being said, I wanted to clarify this Sunday's episode. The title was Schwanzkopf. It's German for dickhead, aka our star. Hope you guys like episodes 9 and 10. Hopefully the final image in 10 will make you both happy, as well as Agent Palmer. Thanks, Pilgrims. P.S. Thanks for the shout outs that we gave him. Very cool of us. Thank you. We love being cool.
Yeah, well, we love hearing from you, Kez.
Yeah, we think you're
Thanks
cool,
for
buddy.
listening. But I think that was he was alluding to something, but I won't mention it because
Yeah.
I don't want to blow up his spot.
Yeah. I don't
But,
want to make it feel like he telegraphed.
We could
too
talk
much,
about
but-
it off air, I think.
Yeah. We probably both have similar
Yeah.
ideas of what that could be. So the only other cleaning house is like one other thing from a previous episode. Remember when we were theorizing about Hoover on the beach, and like, oh, it would explain how like he wouldn't starve if he was a vampire now.
Right.
Like you can get around that. And we were like, the books probably didn't even touch it. We couldn't recall the books touching it, but they did. And like in a panel when Hoover comes back, someone pulled this up. This is Jay Marksman.
This is on Twitter.
Yeah, this is on Twitter.
Okay.
He pulled this up, and it's he's got the panel of it. And it flashes back to when he builds that little stone wall around himself.
Right.
And he had said that every now and then fish would get caught in it because it was shaped like a U. You know what I mean? So the fish would get caught in there.
Okay.
And I guess he would just eat raw fish whenever they happened by. So it's not quite a perfect diet. And even he's like, even his kid Jay is like, it's not the greatest
Well, hey,
explanation, but
it was the '90s and
Yeah.
it's comics.
yeah.
So,
So, but that's what his point is. Like they did something.
we'll
you know?
let it go.
Yeah. So that's just I want to clear house on a couple of old businesses kind of things.
Right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. So this is it now. Now we're in it, right?
All right.
All right. We ring the bell once in a while when they actually hit something pretty good from the books.
Yeah, when they do something that's pretty much exactly taken from the book.
Yeah.
We give a little bit of leeway, but we're kind of hardos with it. So
Yeah.
sorry in advance.
Well, I think even they'd be like, well, you know, not some episodes more than others, you know. But anyway, this week is Dickhead. I'm just gonna say Dickhead because
Yeah,
it's
well,
easier.
that's what it is.
rolls off the tongue.
Right.
Oddly enough.
Well, it does.
Ironically. You know.
They've been known to do that.
Yeah. So this one starts with the actual Humperdew, not to be confused with all the clones we saw in the previous episode.
And later in this one.
Yeah. So Humperdew comes in. He's about to get Genesis. This picks up from last week where we were like, let's see how this goes. And Jesse's play is to tell Allfather that he's got the gun.
Right.
So Allfather takes it out, but Jesse's like, oh, let me die on my knees. They put cuffs on him, and more or less, this comes down to a struggle and a fight for the gun. The table breaks because Allfather pins him on it, and a pretty gross move. They knock over the vomit bucket.
Right.
At first, I didn't catch that it was the vomit bucket.
They just crush it.
Yeah, I thought
And they
like,
land on top
I'm
of
like,
it.
did he puke? Did he puke on him? I'm like, what happened? I might have blinked.
Yeah, like, see, now this might be me nitpicking,
Yeah.
but some of this, like the entirety of this stuff with the All Father and
Yeah.
his just all of his bodily fluids, regardless of what they may be.
Yeah.
Just Jesse sliding around in them the entire episode.
Yeah, in more ways than one. Yeah.
It didn't work for me.
Yeah, it was a little. We'll get to more of it later.
Like, not-
you know what I
yeah.
mean? But yeah, it is a thing where it's like, wow, that's like the recurring theme. I forgot almost like
Yeah.
the guy who plays Humperdinck got a hold of the Instagram account. Every week they gave the Instagram account over to somebody else from the
okay.
cast,
I didn't
and a
know
lot of times you get some interesting behind the scenes stuff. So he actually put up a clip of later on when they're wrestling in the blood,
Right.
from inside behind that glass. So the glass is all covered with the fake blood on it already, and you're just kind of watching them wrestle around, and it's interesting to watch them, like, totally not, because this is how it goes on the set. Like, none of the punches are close.
Right.
They're so obviously, like, trying to make this look like a struggle, and on purposely, like, not really get anywhere. Because it's all going to come down to the edit, like,
course.
you know what I mean? But to watch it in the moment, it was like a funny thing. So if people are into that,
Yeah.
check out the Preacher AMC account.
The hijinks of behind the scenes.
Yeah, they gave the account to Humperdinck. He had a bunch of cool like photos this time.
Yeah,
a lot of times people
that's
like,
a cool dude right there. He was
he's an all-star reject,
all-American reject.
all-American,
From back in the day.
all-star. You know, whatever.
That was my shit.
Yeah. Did you have
Yeah.
the poster?
I didn't have a poster, no.
But
But I
you-
definitely had like their albums.
Did you have a
sure.
CD?
I definitely had their CD.
CD.
Yeah.
All
I could
right.
probably find it actually.
Nice.
Probably could.
I'm just glad that you remember CDs.
Yeah.
Thank
Well, CDs were a big part of my life.
That's true, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Even
So-
even tapes. to be
Tapes,
honest.
cassettes.
Yeah.
Remember cassettes, kids?
Yeah. I'm not that young, bitch.
All right, sorry.
I mean, kind of. But
Well, you know. So anyway, to get back into it, the table breaks, and this is Jesse injects the All Father with not the Tom Brady. I forget which one it was, but
it had to be the one that was right before the Tom Brady.
yeah, I forget exactly. It went by so quick that like
Yeah.
if you pause it, you could catch it, but I wasn't going back to pause it.
Yeah.
And that sends Genesis into the All Father. And it rumbles in there for a little bit, but it explodes. It's
Correct.
boom. It's splat. It's just Gutsville all over the place. Different end for the All Father than the books. You know, in the books.
I like this though.
You know, this worked. I'm glad, like in the positioning of it, we're done with it. Which I'm like, okay, cool. You know, his storyline, as far as this character goes, is complete. Rather than dragging it on
Yeah,
for
I
next
mean,
season or something.
I didn't really see him dying the way that it's done in the comic, just because of the way, you know, we spoke about this last week. If you guys have been following with us, the way that he actually does die in the comic is he falls out of a helicopter in Masada,
So
and
we're not.
we
Yeah.
haven't gone there yet this season. So
Yeah.
it seems that this was the appropriate way to kill him off to me.
This was the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fine with it. So then here goes Boom Splat. We go to Featherstone, and she's singing "We're Christian Soldiers" at the bus stop. We did the whole thing with the briefcase, with Tulip arriving, and Eugene's actually the one who ruins it. He's like, "Hey,
Fucking
Tulip,
asshole.
Hey, what's up? Oh my God, I love you." Basically, and
But how stupid!
well, you know,
How dumb!
you know, yeah. Well, if anybody,
I mean, it plays to character. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
don't get me
like,
wrong,
I'm not
yeah.
complaining about that.
Yeah.
But
to pull.
come on, it's like Star-Lord's arc in fucking Infinity War. Like he
Okay.
just ruins everything for the team.
Right, basically. Now, Arseface is Star-Lord. That I want to say.
Yeah.
So now I want a Drax Arseface team up.
Yeah.
Someone fan art that for us.
I'll write it.
Well,
I just
yeah.
can't draw.
All right, cool. But yeah, Eugene ruins it. He ruins it. Then we go back to Cassidy and Icarus. It's the fight. They get into a fight. Icarus gets the upper hand, basically. Knocks Cass out. Some words are exchanged, but it's all just basically setting up. It's you know, the stuff that it was already at. Cassidy knows the deal.
This
Icarus is like, no, you know.
This is moving at a very slow pace for me. This storyline.
Yeah, and me reading this, I think.
Well,
So, no, but you're right. It did feel like,
They really could have wrapped. I think they should have wrapped the Icarius storyline in this episode.
Yeah.
You know, like I get it. Like I'm jumping the gun here
Mhm.
because we haven't gotten to the end of the episode, but we really only get one big reveal in this episode, and it comes in the first scene with Jesse getting Genesis back.
Right.
So it would have been nice to have them tie that up, at least, Cassidy's story arc in this episode, so that we could save some time for the other 3 or to 5, however many story arcs we have going on at the time, for those to wrap.
Right.
So it's it's going to be a tough balance for them going into episode 10.
Yeah, it's a thing where like this is actually the point where it starts to feel like it was like certain storylines were starting to feel a little stretchy, whereas earlier in the season everything was kind of rolling in pretty quick.
Right.
So he knocks out Cassie. Then we go to Jesse, back to Jesse and her Star. Star walks in wearing the Kango, which is nice touch. Then the sphincter. The remaining sphincter of the All-Father.
Hanging from the ceiling.
Close up on it, too. I think it's the only time the actual brown eye has been on, I'm going to say cable, cable television.
You're probably right.
I can't imagine any other time. That
and they even did a sound effect of it like squeezing it out. Yeah.
And it was like this weird, it was like that was the perfect duty sound. Like, I don't know who's responsible for that. But that guy gets a gold star.
Kevin.
Well, Kevin's visual. I think if they did if it was digital stuff, I think he's responsible for the glowing crystals in there. If anything,
right? Exactly. Fair enough.
Amongst many other amazing things.
Hey, I don't want to harp on this for too long because I think it's very nitpicky, like I mentioned earlier. But like Jesse, like that thing flies out of All-Father's asshole, and he just goes and puts it right up to his mouth and swallows that fucking soul.
I think at that point, like the feces is the last thing you're worried about on your hands.
But it was just sitting in his asshole.
And did he touch it with his lips, or did he do the thing where like when you're a kid and like you don't want to put your lips on your friend's soda, but you want a sip of it?
Yeah, the air sip. I don't know.
The air sip.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Someone email us.
Yeah,
or tweet at us.
Yeah. There's no excuse, kids. Get in touch.
Fucking.
Tell us we're wrong.
Fucks.
We'll settle for that. Just tell us something. Tell us you're out there. But yeah, so it's a lot of that. They fight in the blood. They fight in the blood. They wrestle. Jesse gets the soul. Star explains this whole thing when we come back from the commercial, all about it's like a nice montage with all some kind of like nice. It's supposed to look old school military footage, missiles being loaded and command centers and all this kinds of shit. But he basically breaks down like the Grail's apocalypse plan with the nukes is still basically a go.
Yeah.
That the nukes are going to fly once the world sees some of that old soft shoe. That's all it's going to take. And then he says, and then when the music stops, the unbelievers will burn.
There we go.
So Jesse is like, well, fuck that. I'll just go kill him. And then he gets the gun and he starts heading out to go kill Humperdinck. We switch back to the bus. Tulip's in the emergency, by the emergency window seat. She fucks with the latch. That breaks. There's some bickering between Arseface and Hitler. Santa Killers gets up. Thought something was going to happen.
Nothing happens. He just walks to the front.
He just walks to the front.
Yeah.
He wants to like hook up with the
Angel
of Death or
I think
something.
he's trying to slide in there.
He's like, I like that whipping you did. That was pretty good.
Yeah, if he'd be turned on to anyone.
Right. If anyone could understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Any kind of bond could really form from.
Right.
So he sits beside the Angel of Death. Hitler suggests, that they just sit tight. Tulip's like, I don't sit tight. We've got Jody and Featherstone in the truck. They're heading back.
He just hits a deer or something.
Something. And we don't actually see it, I think. I mean, unless... I thought for a second that like my cable glitched, maybe. And I'm like, oh, did I miss like a frame? You know what I mean? But I think they were playing it like they don't want you to really kind of make it out.
No.
Or if it's supposed to be something specific, it's lost on me. I'll fess up to not.
Yeah, I missed it then too.
I missed the bit. But she's like, fuck that, and she's just like, you deal with it. I'm walking. We're done here. I got what I need. Cassidy wakes up in the coffin. He tries now to convince these others, like, no, now we gotta go. Yeah. We gotta leave. This guy's been up to shenanigans and all kinds of hooting and hollering.
And to be fair, none of them believe him.
Yeah.
Obviously, at this point, they're completely brainwashed by this guy's bullshit entirely. Right. So it would really take a lot of convincing for them to flip on him at this point, probably.
Right.
But Cassidy's just
yeah.
not the character, I don't think, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
He's just such a low-life scumbag piece
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah, and it's in the end, it really is stacked against him. Those guys are just already in Chris's pocket, Icarus's pocket.
Chris,
Chris.
Eric, Chris.
Eric, Chris.
We got a lot of nicknames.
A lot of
for this
nicknames.
guy.
A lot of nicknames. I like doing that. No, I just can never remember exactly how to pronounce it. It's 50% stupid, 50% bit.
Right.
Okay. Cassidy wakes up. He tries to convince the others to run. Then E pops up like, "Yo, what's up?" He tries to spin Cassidy's story around onto Cassidy. Like, no, brothers and sisters, this is the guy who's always been calling you losers from the moment he got here and all this shit.
And he's right.
And he's right. And it's hard for him to argue, and they fall right in line.
Now, for a second, I thought they were going to do a thing where it was going to be flipped on Cassidy, where Icarius and all of his disciples were going to say, like, yeah, like, we know.
Yeah.
Like,
something like that. Like some of them were hip to it.
Like that's like the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know, like I thought it was going to get real dark for a second. They were going to do that shit.
Oh, like no, like maybe like Icarus didn't even know, but like, oh no, we're willing to give ourselves over for that too. Even if they did find out, let's say like that play,
right.
Like, oh no, we'll do that.
Right.
You
well,
know?
it seems like they might even go for that.
That's what I mean.
I just, for a second, I thought they were going to flip it.
Right, they go extra dark with it.
Yeah.
I could have seen that though. And the whole thing, like
Wouldn't
he
put it
does
past
it
the
later
show.
on, where he's like, "Oh, call Lisa." Like I was thinking about that, like right there during the movie, during the scene. I was like, "This is a point where like you should be saying, call one of the people that he set up. Get him on the phone right now.
Right.
Any one of them. Just give me one of them. If you're gonna want to prove me wrong, make me feel stupid." But they were saving that.
It looks like that's going to be the way that he gets out of it.
Maybe. So basically, we switch over back to the bus. Tulip's on the bus with a plan to escape. Arseface is like, well, he's all about it's God's plan. This whole thing where like I can't believe that we're together. He's going on about this God's plan.
He was listening to a lot of Drake in hell, I guess.
I get God's plan to do it together.
Jeez.
So it comes all down to we're gonna use the broken latch. She uses the buttons from what's his name's Hitler's smock from his smock.
Correct.
Santa Killer's kind of eyeballs them in the mirror or something. He kind of catches it. They do a little thing like he was hip to it. I thought he was going to help out more.
I thought he was going to.
And they were kind of playing it where like he was at least. If that's the case,
he
then,
basically let it go on. Though,
yeah, that's the thing. They at least wanted you to kind of get that from him. He wasn't like he's not so stuck on the my deal's a deal thing that I'm gonna like sheriff in he's like he knows there's bullshit in the air,
Right.
But basically she's got a plan. Oh,
I'm sorry. She does mention to him. I don't know if you were gonna get to this, but that the boy with the deformed face and Tulip are not dead.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that plays a role into how he's kind of
looking at this whole picture right now.
Yeah, he's. I don't know if he's feeling sympathy for them, but he's.
No,
he doesn't like what the devil's up to. I don't think,
right,
and he's.
Right.
I think he's willing to let those two go.
Yeah.
If it comes down to it.
I think that's the kind of thing they want you to see that he's not, even though he's not getting directly involved because of what he's known. It's registering though, like right. it's layering into him somehow. But basically, so Tulip's got a plan where she's going to drop the chain on the drive shaft. It's this whole thing. They do this whole nice graphic and illustration kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like someone actually did some thinking in the writer's room. And it's like, wait, can we do that? Let's look that up. Can we, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, it's cool. I liked it. And then it didn't work, which I thought was kind of brilliant in a way. I'm like, okay, nice touch.
But they did bring it back later on.
And they bring it becomes like this little thing that repeats, this little illustration stuff on the screen, which I thought was cute.
It was.
Stuff that they haven't kind of done in a while.
Or if ever, really.
Yeah, I mean, but stuff like that, like this out of context kind of, it's almost like in the vein of like how they put the big text all over the screen when it's a place. Or, my DVR started replaying episode 1, and I forget that you get that whole intro. It's all about this stuff that adds to the feel of their particular tone, like, you know what I mean? Or even like how Air Star's montage of the combat stations and all this shit was like grainy footage. And,
Yeah.
Like, you know, they go out of their way to kind of do these little things, but we hadn't seen something like that in a while. There was a nice touch.
Definitely.
Like that, I like seeing stuff like that.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic. I'm all about the aesthetic.
I guess so.
I guess so. So with that, we go back to Jesse.
We do.
Remember Jesse? So he's gonna try and shoot Humpy in the face. It's just him and Humpy, who was doing a lot of hand humping.
Yes. And
In the
Star's
corner?
begging him to not do it.
Yeah, right. Don't do it, Costa. But he hesitates long enough that he starts to hear noises that sound like more humperdoos,
Yep.
more humper
And
clones.
I have to bring it up because
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting point.
Right.
It seems like at this point, Star is almost willing to let Jesse go
Yeah.
with Genesis
Right.
if he doesn't kill or do anything to Humperdew. As long as he can use Humperdew as the Messiah, he really is at this point willing to let Jesse go.
Yeah. It seems that way.
And I think it was kind of fucked for Jesse to not kind of agree with him on that.
Yeah, it is a thing where it's like, you know. But I kind of agree with Jesse where it's like, well, what to what end? To what good is it going to serve?
Well, yeah, he's saving, potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives by doing that. And I know
Yeah.
that's his thought process in
Yeah,
doing so,
yeah.
but
I think his thinking is like too though, like if the whole plan hinges on this moron, like your plan can't go forward without this guy.
yeah.
Maybe it's worth putting him down.
Well,
Like, you know what I
of
mean? Like
course, yeah.
whether he's got Genesis or not in him, you're going to use him somehow for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm trying to find my place in my notes. He hesitates enough to hear the other ones. It's more humperdoos. And then as he goes down the hallway, he sees all the tracksuits.
Yeah.
And then he gets this crazy idea to let them all go. And he mixes in the actual Humperdoo with all the Humper clones and sets them out in the street. They do a nice aerial shot where they're just flowing out of the building. Well, they do this whole montage with the escalators, which is
Yep.
kind of funny.
It was definitely, it was cool, yeah.
Which is like, it's just, none of them are like all mesmerized by the electronic staircase. But they managed to find their way outside, and which ones, they're all walking into traffic.
One of them
getting hit by,
just gets destroyed by a car.
like splattered.
Yeah.
And it's, shenanigans from here. Like, does that mean like the whole Humperdoo thing is, fuck it, it's done? Or,
knows,
You know what I
really?
mean? Or we can have more of that as a loose end. To
Hey,
come
it's out
back
there.
one
If
day.
it's not tied up in episode 10, it's out there.
Oh my God. Okay. The one thing.
Maybe Humperdew
one
will be the
thing.
one that comes back on the motorcycle.
What's funny now, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we thought we were done with that whole clone business, but like, no, we are far from done with the clone business.
If Humperdew becomes the one that's the fucking musician and the rock star, I'll fucking lose it. If he becomes the one that's
They
on the
transfer
on
that
the bike.
storyline. Oh my God.
That would be funny as hell, though, to be honest.
I might enjoy watching the two of them do karaoke together, though. Like a scene with that. Like
Eugene and Humperdew?
Eugene and Humperdoo singing some kind of like Islands in the Stream or something like that. That's a classic duet.
Africa by Toto?
It rains down in Africa.
Yeah.
I can see it. All right, so now I have that stuck in my ears. It's all a ruse. He lets all the humpies go. And then Jesse comes back, and him and Star basically they have a reset. Star's like, "We're enemies again, Costa," and so Jesse's like, "Yeah, it's great. Whatever. I don't give a shit. I got things I gotta do." And he leaves, but he turns around and comes back, and he's like, "No more hats," or whatever, And I'm glad to see him use it like a lot this episode, even if
Yeah.
it's for like little things.
And he actually, I don't know if you noticed it, but they've been doing this thing with it in this episode that I don't know if I just haven't noticed it in the past.
Just shaking, the camera shaking,
Well,
the vibrating
that
thing.
too, but
Yeah.
you could kind of hear, if you listen closely enough, you could hear Jesse's voice underneath Genesis, which
Okay.
I never really noticed before.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's always, it's just his voice modulated usually over a little bit, but maybe they did tweak it a little bit. Maybe it felt a little grittier to me or something. It did feel different to me. I will agree with you on that. I didn't catch
They haven't used it in almost a full season.
Right,
so-
I might just be missing it. It's just like, I haven't seen you in so long, honey. Where have you been? You look
Right.
so different to me. Did you change something? Nope, still the same. All right. But then when she gets a haircut, you don't even notice. Right. I mean, that's how you get in trouble in a relationship. That's today's lesson. So Cassidy, nope, jumping ahead a little bit. Yeah, because the hat, he put on a cowboy hat.
He did.
He did. And that was the last hat. He was like, no more hats.
No more hats.
No more hats. Which was nice. We put a button on that bit. You know what I mean? Because it was just about. We felt it. I think we might even said that that's just got to be like a run for this season, and then we got to find a way to wrap it up.
I mean, I really didn't care, to be honest. That's one of those things that I thought could have been a running joke.
Sure,
didn't really matter too much.
I think the thing I had said too is I thought that he would just end up settling into the one hat, like he does settle
exactly,
into.
Yeah.
So with that, we jump back to Cassidy, and basically now they've got him spiked to a pool table. Mm-hmm. Which at first I was like, oh, bullshit. And then I saw actually how they had him spiked to it, and I was like, okay. Because the table's slate. Well, maybe not everybody knows that. I don't know. Yeah. But, like, you know, you can't. So they had him pinned in a proper way where it's like, okay, he's in between the bumper and the framework. I'm like, all right. I thought they were going to try and pull some stupid shit. No, I'm like, okay, these people are paying attention. Like, why would that get by them? But for a split second, I was like, wait. Oh, okay. Like, I felt so like self-righteous about it for a split second. It was so stupid. So they got him pinned to this, and it's all about this, this beam of light, but it's in the wrong spot.
It's about 10 feet off.
Yeah, it's about, but it's like, oh, fuck it, you know what? We'll wait for it.
Yeah.
And now that puts, I was like, oh, very convenient now to put his death on a timer.
Right.
Rather than just move the table over there. Because it seemed pretty easy for the 10 guys who moved it to do that.
I mean, it had to be. Even the kid whose house it is, he suggests it. He makes the suggestion. Wow, I can't speak.
It's okay.
To do it, but Icarius decides to, I guess, torture him and just leave him up there for a while.
Yeah, let him think about it. Let him stew in his own misery. So, it buys him time, and then, Grandma's like, I'll make a lasagna.
Yep.
Which was nice to see her again. We go back to the bus. Arseface suggests maybe we should build a bomb. She's like, okay. We go back to Grail real quick. And it's, you can ring the bell, kid. We finally got it. It's Air Star and the Wigs.
Nice little split screen montage.
Nice.
Cute. Nothing really too crazy, but we got it.
Yeah. And it's and it's in the book. It's very similar to the bit with the hats.
But it's with the hats, right?
You know what I mean? So it would have been like repeating the motif to kind of do it twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see why they definitely settled on stretching out the hats in a way. So it's like, oh, we get the best of both worlds. We can play with this longer and then do one last punch of the whole bit.
Right.
With him giving Wigs a shot. And then this whole thing.
And all three Wigs are so ridiculous.
So ridiculous. And all three Wigs are kind of like Wigs from the book. When you go back and look, there is one with the mutton chops.
Uh-huh.
It's a little more groomed in the book. I mean, it basically looks like Wolverine had a rough day with the wig he had.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right.
But in the scene, Hoover admits that he's a vampire.
Yes. And it's like, wow, that's going to be some paperwork.
Yeah. But, I mean, Star doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, he barely flinches. Like, he's still stuck. He's this whole head issue he's got.
Yeah.
So I did think it was a nice touch where, like, he's kind of fucked. Like, he has to expose it. It's another reason for him to hate Custer. Custer left, like, that command sitting on me. So I can't ever wear hats. It would have been nice if he was just like, stop covering that up. And then, like, Wigs would have been out. But that would have ruined the bit with the Wigs.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm waiting for him to just start, like, putting makeup over it.
Right. You start getting some putty, spackling it in.
I mean, that seems like the best option.
You still have, like, this weird ridge, though, kind of. Just puckered. Something. He's going to figure out something, right? Turbans.
You would think the guy that runs the Grail
right.
would have some kind of, like, weird hair
transplant
thing to do, like,
I mean,
that's
with the crazy,
something that's been around forever.
And they love to pull out the crazy science.
Exactly.
It's like, really ridiculous pseudoscience explanations for anything else. So,
exactly.
Making it more comic booky than the original comic book sometimes with that shit. So with that, Hoover admits to being the vampire, and it's one last wig. And then Star screams so loud, we pull all the way back into outer space and look at Earth, also tiny, as we hear him scream. we go break, we come back, bus stop, Tulip, well, back on the bus rather, Tulip is now up front, she's goading the Saint of Killers into hitting her, but she's like, she's jabbing at his soft spots, into basically hitting her into the window.
Yep.
So the window is all cracked, easy to break out of. We go back to Cassidy, the light beam is creeping on him, Grandma's cleaning up. After her grandson's friends.
She gives him a nice little energy drink that's sitting on the table.
A little something. But turns out she's a bit of a bitch, too. She knows the deal, and so she's not going to let him out.
Right.
But she's still kind of sweet about it, which I thought was a nice touch.
He convinces her, basically, by the end of the scene, to call
Lisa.
Lisa.
Call Lisa. Let Lisa know. But basically being like, if you just seem to know everything that's going down, Grandma, so, like, if you can't get a hold of her, could be a problem.
Right.
I might be right. And so I guess it'll come down to maybe Icarus will kill Grandma, and that'll really set the kid over the edge.
Oh, Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin.
Is that his name?
I don't know.
I want to say it is.
We'll use that.
Yeah.
Well, no, let's not use Kevin, because we got our friend Kevin.
But I think that might be his name, though.
Something with a K, though.
I don't know. Fuck it, regardless.
Kenneth. I'm going to say Kenneth.
Kenneth. All right,
I
fine.
like Kenneth.
Fair enough.
I feel like whatever it is, it's full name. There's no, like, Mikey or anything.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like Michael, or it's like Douglas, not Doug. Like, So with that, we go back to the bus. And now we get another plan from Tulip with more diagrams. And actually, as she's in the middle of it, Hitler's like, fuck all that. Kicks out the window, jumps through Arrivederci suckers, or Fridozen, rather, suckers. But boom, explosion. Bus goes careening. We get this montage slow-mo thing sent to some German song. But that sounds French. I'm sorry. Which I thought it was at first. I was like, no, it's got to be German, right? And then I listened a little closer, and I heard some unst, you know what I mean, and Schnell in there. But so basically, the truck is tipped over. Tulip's like the first one to kind of open her eyes, and there's some like Nazi youth basically peeking down on her through the window because the whole thing's on its side now. And then a tank rolls up, a nice swastika-laden tank. And they've basically been saved by...
Very inconspicuous.
Yeah, very inconspicuous. They've basically been rescued by Darren. I forget his name. The kid from the Circuit Works. Yeah, Alice Jones Jr. from Circuit Works,
right.
where Hilter
right.
was formerly working next door. He's the big save. He was waiting for the whole episode. It's like, well, he was telegraphing it so much. Mm-hmm. It's like, how could it not happen?
Yeah, seriously.
So with that, we go back to Angelville, where we wrap up the episode. TC's making a big old tea for Grandma. And he's like, you trust Jesse gonna come back? And she's like, of course I do. He wants to kill me. And that's when Jesse gets dropped off outside, way up the road, by a fire truck.
Yep.
Tells the guys to go back to work. And he starts hustling down
strutting down the road.
Strutting down the road. He is heading up in it. And, yeah.
So, Bill.
Yeah.
First, I got to ask you what you thought about the episode.
I don't know. I felt like it was kind of like you said earlier, not as penultimate as I could have wanted it to for some reason, but it does put everything kind of in place a little bit. I think the thing that's throwing it right now is probably like the Tulip Hellbus storyline, because it's got like so many people.
Yeah.
Now it's like a bunch of storylines have now all, coalesced right here. Like, it's weird. It's like now you got it's Jesse, Cassidy, and like the Busketeers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what's going to happen to all the Busketeers?
Right.
But I am worried that this means Hitler's probably going to live. Pardon me. But
it's possible.
Yeah.
I think they might do a thing where he lives, but he's not shown. Like he just goes off into the ether, like he just goes off into freedom. We don't know.
Get a season or two
and
away from him,
maybe he comes back later
I would be cool with that.
Yeah.
Like if he goes off the radar for a while.
That could just be me wanting that.
But I like that as like an idea in general.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this is a show that can do stuff like that.
I think it can, yeah.
Where it's like let characters maybe come and go, and then like they pose a bigger threat when they come back,
Right.
or we bump into them in the craziest fucking way, and it's like, well, maybe we'll hate it when it pops up out of nowhere,
Right,
but
exactly,
like
yeah.
at least it'll be a thing where like, okay, that's a crazy twist, because whether or not I like a twist, sometimes I'll give it to them for just like. Didn't see that coming. Like, you know what I mean? That's a crazy way to go. Maybe it's not the way I would have went, like, like with anything. But if it's like some unpredictable shit and it's like outlandish outside the box, it's like, okay, kudos, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, I'm going to write a letter to the governor. I'm very angry. No, but, yeah, so coming out of this one, I don't know. I really didn't feel like, oh man, you know what? It didn't make me like super extra psyched for next week.
That's what I was going to say.
You know what I mean? It didn't really ramp up the excitement per se. I mean, for Jesse and that storyline, yeah, because I'm like, oh shit, he's by himself going home now. But like at the last second.
Yeah. So just something that I wanted to bring up. If you guys haven't seen the preview for next week, please go and do so, and then come back and listen to what I'm about to say.
Should I pause it, go watch it? Because No, I did see the week's preview, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant the preview scene.
Yeah. So I can't really recite the exact quote from Granma, but she says something about Jesse and the way the trailer for next week is shot. It kind of gave me the impression that there's a possibility that Jesse will be brought to hell by Satan by the end of the season. And I want everyone to go and watch it and either tell me I'm crazy or confirm my
the feeling
suspicion.
I got from it, and like this episode in particular was like, what if we're not done with Grandma? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't think we are.
What if we're rolling into like summer next season with Angelville, and it's not as simple. The simple one season per location kind of thing. Like this one's gonna carry over a little bit. Yeah. So I wonder though. I feel like it does start to put into play that Satan. I already felt this before, that Satan might be like someone they're gonna love to have around.
Yeah, well, that's
have
cool
him
with
pop
me
up.
because he's great. He's like the highlight of the season for me.
He's charismatic as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as he doesn't get too ridiculous, because that's the thing too. It's like all the storylines are crazy. You know what I mean? So crazy things happen, but when these storylines run a little long, it's like, oh, you're just adding crazy on top of crazy sometimes, and it's like to make it keep running. So, but this season had a better balance of that too. Like they would kind of like have things happen for a little bit, wrap it up. Okay, this isn't going to be like a 5-episode fucking kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, I got a lot of hope for next week, but like from the preview, it doesn't look like Tulip's in the house.
No.
So I do wonder. I mean, hey, if it's just Jesse, it's kind of like a hey, good for TV, Jesse. But that's not the way. Like if Tulip's not there, they don't have some moment.
There's not the kiss. You
know what I mean? Because here's the thing: if like the show extends with Angelville into next season, that's one thing. You know what I mean? And then maybe we're still gonna get that, and I'd be upset that this season didn't end right on that button, but at least it would still be in play. If this season ends with Jesse kind of doing that part of the storyline like by himself, and the house burning down, and him having his last big duke out, because it looks like he was having a big duke out with Jody.
Yeah, it seems like they might do that.
Yeah.
I think, especially knowing now what Kevin said in his email,
right?
I'm actually leaning now more towards that being the ending of this season.
Of that it's just him?
It's just Jesse, and he fucking burns the house down.
Well, the only thing I was thinking was that
and
somehow...
he's got to go, like, his mission now going into season 4 is going to hell.
Yeah.
And
getting
Tulip back.
That could be.
Or by somehow God saves Tulip at the last second and sends her to fucking Angelville, and then they meet up there. We can't rule out God, like we haven't seen him in a bunch of episodes.
That's a good point.
And he might come back for Tulip.
That's a good point. That would be a nice last-minute save.
Yeah.
That would be a callback because we haven't seen him.
Yeah.
And it does answer my question: is like how do you get Tulip back there in time, at least for the very end? Because like, what if it's just like she just runs up to hug him and give him a kiss, oh, you did it? He's like, I fucking did it.
Right.
And I'd be all right with that
That's
kind of
enough.
a thing. Like if she's trying to get to him in time.
That's basically what happens in the comic.
So, yeah. So
she does give TC a good shot.
Yeah.
But,
You know what I mean? She ends up being the one who's shotgun blasting. But what I was getting to is that, like, because, like, oh, if she's on the bus, they've been traveling, she's kind of far away now. You'd have to do some like fucking, sleight of hand with the time frame a little bit to make her get there in time. But if God intervenes and it's all blink of an eye and he just drops her right outside the fucking stupid road and she can just be like, you couldn't just put me a little bit closer. You know what I mean? And she has to run down that long road that they love to show everybody trotting down. And makes it there in time to kind of maybe she does get to take out TC with the shotgun anyway. You know what I mean? But I think God would have to kind of intervene and drop her off there. But I feel like that's what I like to think. That's what Kevin might have been hinting at.
I'm almost convinced now at this point that that's what he was hinting at.
Yeah, that's some way, somehow that's gonna happen. They might have just done some convenient editing where it's like we intentionally didn't show shots of Tulip in the house kind of thing. We just focused on Jesse because this episode just showed you only Jesse being there. And
now, is next week extended time or?
Not that I'm aware of offhand. You know what I mean?
That would be nice. That would be very nice.
But
I'm not expecting it, but that would be cool. That would be a great surprise.
I am excited for it in a degree where it is like now, like, because it's like we got now just talking about it here. It's like, some questions up in the air about it in a way. Like I'm excited for that, like the process more a little bit.
What do you mean?
Like I want to see what they do and how they do it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? As opposed, like almost on like the mechanical, like this podcast kind of level where it's like, almost a little bit more interested on that level than just plain like, oh man, here it comes. Because I'm not feeling 100% like, oh, it's like lining up easy. But
I hear you.
These guys pull some magic, though. I mean, they might make it all line up.
I think it will. I'm very optimistic. I'm not going to lie. I know I've been kind of down on it this episode. But I think no matter how they end it, I'm going to like it because I've maintained that view throughout the entire season. Right. Even though they've done a couple things that I dislike, at the heart of it, I've enjoyed it. So that's really all that matters. And I think no matter what they do next week, I think it's going to set up a good season 4. And I just hope that we get one because that's still up in the air right now.
Yeah.
Figured we can mention that quickly, folks. Yeah,
people rally behind the show. If you're a big fan of the show still, and you're on Twitter and you're really not rallying behind it, you're going to see the fan base at this point start to try to drum up this kind of a thing. Our friends over at preacher_on_AMC, they're a fan Twitter account, and they really do a lot to help us promote this podcast and other preacher shows, and the whole community at large. They usually kind of rally up the troops a little bit. They're one of the focal points as far as I can tell. Okay. Preacher Wiki is another account that's always out there, helping out and getting all up in the mix. People, if you're super preacher fans, you should be following these accounts. Basically, is what I'm telling you. But shout out to Redbeard, our friend over at Deconstructing Dad podcast. Our friend Dan Redbeard 73 Deke 273 on the Twitter. He just tweeted out like a little while ago, 45 minutes ago. Oh my! Can't wait to hear Sarah Netzley and Edward O'Hare and Wicked Theory and Dom Torrey break down the latest Preacher AMC on the DCTV report and Preacher versus Preacher, respectively. Big thanks and shout out to him. Thanks, Dan. And much like Dan, Dan's also a saint in his own right because he's actually been leaving us voicemails for the main show. If you want to leave voicemails for this show, you can do so. It's a speak pipe thing, so you basically go to wickedtheory.com. There's a red tab that pops out from the side. If you have a microphone hooked up to your device or you're using your phone, you can record like a 90-second message of some sort. And then we'll play that on the show here. So if you got questions, comments, corrections, you want to lambast,
fucking yell at us.
You know what I mean? Give us a hard time, and then at the end you can say, "I'm sorry." You know what I mean? Whatever you want to do. you know, and also too, we encourage you to write nasty reviews, but give us 5 stars on iTunes.
Right.
That's always fine. You know, I think that's how that should work.
Yeah, all that matters is the star rating. So
Yeah.
no matter what you say, just give us the 5.
Trust me, I'll read it anyway and be crushed. So
Yeah.
if you want to do that, you still can.
Right.
But you know, so that's cool. People go to that. I'm just kind of skimming through the Twitter real quick here, just seeing if we had anything, because I saw that some people in the last minute kind of tweeting along here. But yeah, I got nothing.
All right.
Yeah, I got nothing. Double check. Yeah, I got nothing.
All
All
right.
right, so that's it. This has been another episode of Preacher vs. Preacher.
We got one left for the year, baby.
We got one left for the year. We're gonna try and get the glorious Sarah Netzley in here for next week.
Correct.
I don't know. That might put it off by a day. Let's just say, in case of emergency, schedule-wise.
Yeah.
If she said,
Look
to
out
me-
for that, kids.
If she said, "Oh, I could do it Tuesday," I mean, you know, we would do that. We would hold a day for her, because we love her so.
But only one.
But only one, and only for her.
I'm kidding. We could wait as long as she needs. No, we can't.
No, we can't.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, so look forward to that. We look forward to you guys communicating with us. And then I don't know. I probably should have had the music queued up already to do that. So now I'm gonna vamp a little bit. This is the point where I'm like,
I've been watching Disenchantment on
I
Netflix.
have two. We can give that a quick shout out right here.
It's pretty dope.
It's pretty dope. It's pretty
It's
good.
funny. You guys should watch that.
Yeah, I'm only up to episode 3.
Okay, it really like kicks into gear in like 5,
That's-
like 4 and 5.
That's the hope I was having.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely one of those things where like, oh, I want to see what they do with this show that's on the Netflix model. Like, how tied is everything? You know what I mean? This kind of a thing.
It actually becomes to be a pretty well developed story.
All right, cool. Because it feels like it's just feeling itself out right now.
Yeah.
How many episodes is it, like 10?
I think it's 10. Yeah, I'm only on like 6 right now. I think I might end up finishing it before next week. So.
All right.
'Cause it's only like 20-something minute episodes.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it. Matt Groening's new show,
Yeah.
creator of The Simpsons and Futurama on Netflix. Disenchantment.
Yeah, and this is like MA, so he gets to do a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the thing that was throwing me. I kept forgetting. I'm like, oh yeah. It's he could be a little more raunchy here. and,
Exactly.
you know, but it's not over the top with the raunch.
No, it's not.
Which is good. It's just the right amount of raunch.
Right.
You know. All right, kids. So we'll be here until the end of the season, or until the end of the world. I gotta work on that ending thing. I think.